And I loved my time in Southampton. I think it was a very good upbringing in a city that was very culturally diverse. It wasn't stuck in its ways in what I could see. As a mixed-raced guy, to be accepted, it's tended to seem like my black friends would accept me as being black, and my white friends would accept me as being black. It wasn't you're you in its entirety, and it was almost like, so there was moments where it would fall into, if you could run really fast, it's like, oh yes, because you're black genetics, that's kind of that. It's because you're black. It's kind of, it would go that route.
Is knowing that I come from, these deep threads of history and culture and heritage, both going back to Benin in Nigeria, fantastic, but also knowing that I've got very strong Cornish and Flemish and French roots as well that go right back to the Middle Ages, and I love all that kind of potpourri of history and culture. And also the DNA I think it's a powerful, powerful mix.
Well, my parents, both from Jamaica, but on my father's side is Chinese Jamaican, and on my mother's side is Indian Jamaican. And they meet in the middle and produce me, basically.
My dad is Caucasian white and he's from Southampton, from England. My mum's originally from Belize. And Belize is a bit of a mix between kind of Hispanic culture and Caribbean culture. It used to infuriate me because people couldn't identify where I was coming from. But actually, as I've got older, it's actually a bit more fun because they can't pigeonhole me.
My father's from Grenada. My mother's British. And the most important part of my Caribbean heritage, that will always be part of me, is the music in a lot of senses. That my father was very much into his music. He was a bass guitarist in a group called Ebony Rockers. My mum being white and having Jewish roots within her father being an Orthodox Jew and her mother being Reformed. So within the Jewish religion, through the bloodline, it would make me Jewish if we're being religious. But within my family, we never really practiced Judaism within my household. I only really understood how far my grandmother had gone to become a Reformed Jew when she passed away, and she wasn't having a Christian or a Catholic or whatever was deemed in my mind that my grandmother was, because I never really saw her as Jewish. She was at the synagogue and she was having to be going through the traditions of a Jewish funeral, and it was a very interesting experience for me.
Well, I think the benefits of having a diverse background is quite simply, the different elements that come into it. The Chinese, the Indian, the Jamaican, the Cuban, all bring different kinds of elements. But I mean, the one guiding factor for me would be the African element. In terms of the rhythms, in terms of the harmonies, the melodies and stuff like that. I think those things come from quite deep within, and they're quite prevalent in what I do. People just want to get together, make love, have fun, man, you know what I mean? And sometimes it's just not about where they're from or what they look like or anything like that. People just get on a basic level. And that's great to see, because that means that people are just taking each other at face value rather than where they're coming from,
I think the benefits of coming from a cultural diverse background, mixed race family, is that I get the best of everything.
Some contrasting views and opinions there from those of mixed heritage. It highlights how that broad term, mixed heritage, can mean a myriad of things to different people. We're privileged to be here at CCT Museum in Southampton, which celebrates the contribution that migrants have made to the region. It also demonstrates how the cultural composition of the city has changed as a result.
And this is a form of losing your identity. If you lose your identity, that is when you have lost your soul.
In 1992, a small group known as the Black and Asian Video Panel made a film called The Colour of Love. It shone a spotlight on the issue of mixed-race relationships. Just a stone's throw away from here stood the Gantry, Southampton's alternative theatre. A lively 2-hour debate electrified the theatre.
Choose to love is the true sign of my emancipation, because within my emancipation I have choice. And the one thing that white people have tried to deny me at all stages and continually, the one way they have kept us oppressed, the one way they have taken away everything we've had, is by denying us choice. Now I choose to be with a white person.
Views on mixed-race relationships were highly polarised at the time. But in the space of 2 decades, have those views changed? To test the question, we brought together a number of people again who were involved in the original debate.
Actually, I don't actually think it's very honest to say that you don't see somebody's colour.
Yeah.
And I also think it's a bit insulting to both black and white to suggest that you don't see the colour, because I think it's crucial. And if you don't, and if you try and say, well, you know, I love you for your person and I don't see your colour, you're either fooling yourself or you're trying to fool everybody else, because it's crucial.
The 2012 report, The Melting Pot Generation, shows that nearly 40% of British-born black Caribbean people are in mixed relationships.
I don't know if it's for status or what it's for, but it's immediately, I've known them to leave their black wives for white women as soon as they're successful. Why?
The UK has one of the fastest growing mixed-race populations in the world. The official estimate is almost at 1 million. But for some pundits, that's an underestimation. All in all, it's evidence of a changing social dynamic. From Sea City Museum, we steer the mixed relationship course to Southampton Solent University with Kiki Mori, the chair of the original debate.